I say the good news, the bad news. The good news is we got $6.5 billion of revenue that we weren't anticipating, which the good news about that, it seems to be an indicator that we might have hit bottom, the economy's turning around a little bit more. That's the good news. I think the bad news is that we got $6.5 billion, and it hasn't been helpful with regards to the negotiations. What I mean by that is that all of us are standing that we want the governor's proposal, which is, again, an extension of taxes is part of the solution, and certainly making the budget cuts with the anticipation and idea that over the next 5 years, the economy would recover, we would regain economic health in California, and at the same time, this budget proposal would get us out of a continuing structural deficit that the state of California has really been in since Arnold Schwarzenegger took office. And so that is sort of the governor's plan. That has been, the Democrats have embraced that plan up in Sacramento, and we've been trying to move forward on that plan, and we are continuing to try to resolve a budget by Wednesday, again with revenues, and with the cuts that we have already made. We're coming from a perspective that we're not going to make any further cuts. Certainly the $6.5 billion helps us out in this process, but we still need, I think, revenue. The way the governor has treated this new revenue that has come in is to pay or to assign that money to backfill some of the debt and particularly deferrals in school districts, and we'll get into that conversation in a little bit more detail. So here we are. We had a $26.5 billion budget. We made roughly about $10 billion worth of cuts. We had a new $6.5 billion worth of revenue, so roughly we're in the range of another $10 billion problem that we hope to resolve with temporary revenue solution over the next few years to get us to a good, healthy place, I think, in California. So, as I said, the Senate has passed a couple of budget bills. We will go back, be back on the floor on Monday. We're anticipating, Betsy and I both, the reason why we were a little late and distracted is because we were both on a conference call, Democratic caucus conference call, talking about the budget, talking about what the Senate's doing, talking about how things are looking with negotiations amongst the leadership relative to this getting Republicans to agree with us on the revenue package. I think this is a very sophisticated audience, but let me just remind you, and this will become abundantly clear as we go through the process, in California, for us to raise any kind of revenue in California, it requires a 2/3 majority to do so. So California, like Rhode Island and Arkansas, the three states that require a 2/3 majority to raise revenue. And that's our dilemma, because really what that boils down to in the legislature is we need 2 Republican votes in the Senate, and we need 2 Republican votes in the Assembly, and with those 4 votes, we could move forward with this package. Republicans now are talking about other kinds of reforms that are on the table, and we're trying to really kind of assess what those reforms are. And of course, the governor is pretty stuck on his promise to Californians, which was, we're going to take this to the voters. And so he's very stuck on that. From our perspective, we think we would like to extend taxes, what we're now calling a bridge tax solution, extend it for a year so we could go back to the voters at a good time when, in 2012, when the elections start, we can go back at a good time where we would see a fair possibility of taxes moving forward. The governor seems to want to continue to do that and wants to do it sooner versus later. So we're sort of still in negotiations with the governor. Can we bridge this for a year rather than doing it for a shorter period of time? So there are a lot of moving parts that are going on right now, assessing what the Republicans are asking for, the bridge funding that the governor needs to agree on, and then of course getting to the 2/3 vote on the entire package. So that's kind of where we are right now, and we can talk about this further, I think, after we go through the process, because I think you going through this interactive process is going to be really, really important.